Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, my dear students. This is the second part of our lesson, Exponential Function, in which we will explore some harder questions. And also we can look at Desmos as a tool that can help us solve some questions easily. And maybe we can go through a shortcut in some ideas. Question number one here is the first term of a sequence is 9. Each term after the first is 4 times the preceding term. If W represents the nth term of the sequence, which equation gives W in terms of n? Here the first one is 9, which means if you write the equation in the standard form, a times b to the x, here a is the starting or the beginning or the first term, which is 9. So we have to start with 9. You can replace y with w as the question mentions here. So W is equal to A is the first term, which is 9. And then B, what is B here? 4 times the preceding term. So we multiply always by 4, so the answer here should be 4. But the preceding term is n minus 1, considering our term is n, the preceding one is n minus 1. So now the answer is letter D. If you want to explain, if you want to get the idea also in another way, you can replace the 9 in the first term as the first term is equal to 9. I mean, when n is equal to 1, this is the meaning of the first term, the term w is equal to 9. You can replace n with 1 and you get y as w. Of course, it cannot be the first one, because if you replace n here with 1, 4 times 9 to the power of 1, which means 36, not 9. So now this is incorrect. Replacing n here with 1, so 1 minus 1 is 0. 9 to the power of 0 is equal to 1, and 1 times 4 is 4. It's not 9. So this is also incorrect. Replacing n here with 1 gives you 4 times 9. It's also 36. Not the same as 9. But here, if you replace n with 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0, 9 times 4 to the 0. So 4 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. 1 multiplied by 9 is equal to 9. This is why we have to choose letter D. Number 2, for the exponential function f, the value of f of 0 is equal to c, where c is a constant. Of the following equations that define the function f, which equation shows the value of c as the coefficient of the base, or the base? I mean, the coefficient is this number, the base is this one. So which one gives you the same number when you replace x with c, with 0? So if you replace x with 0, because f of x means f of 0, you get a number. This number, if it gets back to the question itself, this is the option that you have to choose. What do I mean by this? Replace x with 0 in all of these. So now 0 plus 1 equals to 1, and 22 times 1.5 is equal to 33. Do you have 33 here? This is C. Do you have 33 here in the question? No. The second one, replace x with 0. So 33 times 1.5 to the power of 0 is equal to 33. This one gets back to the question. Yeah, here is a 33 mentioned as a constant. So the answer is B. Why not C? Because we replace here the value of x by 0, you get, the answer will be also 33, but 33 is not given here. It's not in the question. It's not a constant. It's not a base. The question says a coefficient or the base. This is the coefficient. It's not 33. Also, if you replace x with 0 here, you get also 33, and 33 is not mentioned here, because all of these are equivalent forms of the function, the same function. They are always the same, but the one that gets the answer 33 inside the question itself is only letter B. Number 3, a model estimates that at the end of each year from 2015, be careful, this is the starting time, to 2010, the number of squirrels in a population was 150% more. 150% more means 1 plus 150%. And this can be done as 2.50 or 2.5. That's how to explain, how to get the value, how to calculate 1 plus 150%. You can also use the calculator to write 1 plus 150%, and the percentage is here. You get the number as 2.5. So 2.5 should be written between the parentheses, not 1.5, this one or this one. So maybe this equation or this one, but let's read the rest of the question. The number of squirrels and the population at the end of the previous year. The model estimates that at the end of 2016 means 1 year after the beginning. 2015 and 2016 is 1 year apart. So you just replace x by, or t, the time, by 1 year, and you get 180, where there were 180 squirrels in the population. Which of the following equations present this model, where n is the estimated number of squirrels in the population t years after the end of 2015. So we can replace the letter t by 1, because 1 year is the difference between 2015 and 2016. But where to replace? In either b or d, because both of them contain 2.5 as a base. So let's check b. 72 times 2.5 to the power of 1. You calculate this. If the answer is 180, this is your answer. So let's check this. 72 times 2.5 raised to the power of 1. Of course, power of 1 gives you the same answer. So 180, that's correct. So here is B. The answer is B. If you just try this, the answer will be more than that. It would be, I think, 240. If you replace this 180 times 2.5 to the power of 1, you get 450, which is not the same answer. So the answer should be 180 as given in the question. So letter B is the correct answer, not letter D. Okay. Now we go to question number 4. The function f gives the value in dollars of a certain piece of equipment after X months of use. Of course, this is X months because we divide the number year by 12. But this is not our concern. If the value of the equipment decreases each year by p%, decrease by p% means 1 minus p%. This is the meaning of decreasing by p%. And this should be the same as the number written inside the parentheses, the base. This is always the base. So this is equal to 0.64. What is the value of p? Of p, that's how can we get the answer? You just write them on the calculator. Write 1 minus p, which can be considered as x%. You write shift with this, equals to 0.64, 0.64, and then shift calc to get the answer, which is 36. You choose 36, letter C. You can also answer the question by thinking about 1 as 100%. You can say 100% minus what is equal to 64%. 0.64, the same as 64%. 100% minus 36% is equal to 64%, of course, but we don't need to write the percentage because the percentage is given in the question. We need only the value of p. Question number 5, y is equal to 4 times 2 to the x. Which of the following is the graph of this function? Of course, we need to consider that 2 here. You look at the 2. 2 is a number greater than 1, which means that the graph is increasing like this. So we cancel out A and B because they both are decreasing. Look, they are decreasing from left to right. So we focus on C and D. And which one is correct? We just can choose any number and replace. Let's talk about a number like 4. If you replace x with 4, here you get a number between 50 and 75. So this is letter C. So let's replace x with 4 and see the answer. So this one gives us 4 times 2 to the 4th. And if you calculate this, you don't say 4 times 2, of course, because we are dealing with the exponents first. 2 to the 4th power is equal to 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. Is this number close to 64? Yes, of course. It's between 50 and 75, so power 64. But if you check here, letter D, on the other hand, this number is below 25, it's about 16. Of course, if you replace x with 4, you will not get 16. If you replace x with 4, as we did here, we got 64. Why did we choose 4? It's okay. It's up to you. You can choose any other number. You can choose 2, for example. 2 gives us something here in letter C, which is about 16. And 2 here gives us a number which is very small, like 5 or something. So if you replace x by 2, so 4 times 2 to the power of 2, this is 16. Not 4 or not 5, so 16 is the correct answer here in letter C. So whatever the number you choose, you get the answer as you see here. But don't maybe it's not easy to try number like 0 because this is not clear which number it is because it's very close to the x-axis, the same as this one. You cannot distinguish between them from this tiny graph. That was question 5, and then question number 6. It says a ball is dropped from an initial height of 22. Initial means the number that starts the equation. Because we know that these are exponential functions, so we can consider this function as y is equal to a times b to the x. Here, a is the initial. So initial is 22. So we have to start with 22 here. So we can cross out C and D because both of them start with 85. And then continue and bounces off the ground repeatedly. The function f estimates that the maximum height reached after each time the ball hits the ground is 85% of the maximum height reached after the previous time the ball hits the ground. Which equation defines f? H, where h of n is the estimated maximum height of the ball after it has hit the ground n times, and n is the whole number greater than 1 and less than 10. These are too much information. Just look at the 85. Do you have any word like less than, or let's say 85 less, or 85 greater, or increased by 85, or decreased by 85? Nothing is mentioned like this. It's just 85% of the maximum height of the previous one. So 85% means B is 0.85. 85% means 0.85. And then you can write n instead of the x, and that's the answer. So we choose letter C, which is, letter B, which has 22 in the beginning as the initial value, and 0.85 inside the parentheses, which makes B the correct one. So here we can think about the question and highlight the main, the keywords here, or the numbers that can be, like initial is a very important word that we can write in the beginning of the function. And the 85%, the percentage is always something inside the parentheses. Question number 7, the function f is defined by f of x is equal to a to the x plus b, where a and b are constants, and a is greater than 0. And in the xy plane, the graph of y is equal to f of x has a y-intercept of 0 and negative 25 and passes through the points 2 and 23. What is the value of a plus b? Here, why the question gives us 2 points? Because we have more than one constant to get, and the question says find a and b and then find the sum of them. So the best way to answer this question is to use these 2 points in 2 separate steps. So here the function itself is here, a to the x plus b. We can now replace x by 0 and f of x by negative 25. And the second step is to do the same thing, but with the second point. So let's start with the first point. Negative 25 instead of f of x is equal to a raised to the 0 plus b. And now a to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So 1 plus b is equal to negative 25. To get rid of the 1, move it to the other side. B is equal to negative 25 minus 1, which is negative 26. And that's the value of b. That's the first letter we got here. This is negative 26. Then let's get a. How can we get a? Just replace again x and f of x by 2 and 3 in the function itself. So instead of f of x, we write 23. A, we do not have the value of a now, but the exponent is 2. and then plus b, but b is already obtained here, which is negative 26. Now to get a, we just move this number. We have a squared is equal to 23 plus 26, which is 49. Now ask yourself, what is the number to be squared to get 49? It's 7, but maybe also negative 7. You have to consider both, the positive number and the negative number. But the question itself has the numbers that are given as values should be positive. The a is positive because of this. Look at this. A is greater than 0. So we can, if you are working with this question, you can get rid of this 2 by saying a is positive and negative, the square root of 49. But here we ignore the negative 1 because the question says a is always positive. So what is the square root of 49? It's 7. So take the positive 7. Now we have a and b. So the question says a plus b is equal to 7 plus negative 26, which is negative 19. So the answer of the question is negative 19. In this question number 8, the function f gives the number of bacteria in a population t minutes after an initial observation. How much time in minutes does it take for the number of bacteria in the population to double? The word double is referring to this number 2. Double means 2 inside between the parentheses. But how much time? This word is always referring to the denominator of the exponent. The denominator of the exponent. So if you have anytime you have a number below the t, take it as how much time. That's the time we need for 110. So remember this. Y is equal to a, b to the x over c, for example. This c is always how much time? Or every something, or each something. It says, for example, let's say every 3 years, or each 3 years. So this should be 3, and so on. So how much time is always referring to the denominator. Sometimes some questions have a number not below the x, and that will be explained in the hard ones. Question number 9. Yeah, here we have a table. We will answer this question in 2 methods, actually. Well, the first method is the manual one, and the second method is by using Desmos as a tool to help us. This table gives us 3 values of x and their corresponding values of y, and this is our equation. The table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of y for the equation. Y is equal to 4 into 2 to the x plus 3. In the table, a is a constant. What is the value of a? So if you want to get the value of a here, we just replace x by 3. We can put 3 here, so y, and of course, a instead of y. So we can replace this y by a, and we write everything again, but instead of x, we write just 3 plus 3. And you calculate it to get the value of a. 4 times 2 to the third is 8. Plus 3, and 4 times 8 is equal to 32. 32 plus 3 is equal to 35, and that's the manual method. The second method is using Desmos. Just write this function. Y is equal to 4 times 2 to the x plus 3. Let's make it here and Desmos. Y equals to 4 times 2 the power of, we just write this exponent x plus 3, I think, plus 3, yes. Here is our graph. Of course, should be something here in the, okay, just to zoom in to get it in the middle, to center the graph. And what to do next? Replace x with 3. How can we do that? We just write x equals to 3. And here we have another line. If you look closely to this point, which has the intersection between the line, which is equal to 3, and the curve of the exponential function, y is equal to 4 to the 2 to the power x plus 3, you get the value of 3, which is already the value of x, but y here is equal to 35. So 35 is the value of y, which means the value of this y, and the y here is a. So the answer is 35 using Desmos or using the manual method as we explored here. Question number 10. N of d is equal to 115 into 0.90 to the d. The function n defined above can be used to model the number of species of brachiopods at various ocean depths, d, where d is in hundreds of meters. Which of the following does the model predict? Here we can think about this number, because this number is the initial. The initial means in the beginning. And what about this one? This is the interpretation, guys. These options are about the interpretation. So d is in hundreds. Be careful about d in hundreds. And also this 0.90, it should be the meaning of increased by or decreased by. So 0.90 is a number smaller than 1, less than 1, which means decreased by something. Decreased by what? Decreased by 10%. How? How does 10% come here? 0.90 is 10% less than 1, less than 100%. 90% is less than 100% by 10. Or you can say 1 minus x% is equal to 0.90. And then you can use the calculator to get a value of x, which is equal to 10, so 10%. So we have to say decreased by 10%. Search for in the options for this word, decreased by 10%. This is decreasing by 115, it's not correct. Decreased by 10%, that's the correct one. And here also it's decreased by 10%, but this is not correct. So let's focus on A, B, and D. And in B, for every increase in depth by 1 meter, the number of the brachipod species decreased by 10%, or for every increase in depth by 100 meters, the number decreased by 10%. Which one is correct? We said that D is in hundreds of meters. So it should be not 1 meter, it should be 100 meters as mentioned in letter D. So D is the correct one. Question 11. We have this function here, h of x is equal to a to the power of x plus b. A and b are positive constants. And the graph here in the xy plane passes through the points. As we mentioned before, we can get a and b by using these points to replace x with 0, h with 10, and also do the same for the second point to get the value of a and the value of b, and then just multiply them together, because the question says ab means the product of them. So h of x is equal to a to the x plus b. We use 0 instead of x and 10 instead of h. So 10 is equal to a to the 0 plus b. A to the power of 0 is 1, so 1 plus b is equal to 10. Just move the 1, you get b equals to 10 minus 1, which is 9. That's the first value. Here we have b is equal to 9. How can we get the a? Just replace x by -2 and the y by this number, or h by this number. 325 over 36 instead of this is equal to a to the power of x, and x is -2. Then plus b, and b now is equal to 9, which is the amount here. And then we move this number. A to the -2 is equal to 325 over 36 minus 9. How can we get the value of A? Now we can use the calculator, because now we have only one equation that contains one unknown. So you can use the calculator for that and write fraction like this, 325 over 36 minus 9 equals alpha with this, and then write a as x to the power of -2, and we make shift cal equals to get the value of the x, which is equal to 6. So a is equal to 6. Now we got a 6 and b as 9. The question says find ab. So ab is equal to 6 times 9, which is equal to 54. Letter C. That's how to use these points to get the value of a and b. Question number 12. The exponential function g is defined by this. where a is a positive constant, g of 3 is equal to this number. What is the value of g of 4? So here also, this is the same as the point, as given a point. You can see the question like this, or like a table. F, say x and y, or x and g of x, and 3 as x, and the y or g of x is 2, 3, 7, 5. And then here, g of 4 means write 4 here. This number is 3. And this number is 2, 3, 7, 5. This number is 4. And this number is unknown. This is our question here, let's say A, for example. How can we get this? You can see a table like this, or you can see just a question using the same information. I mean, you can use the same strategy to answer the question. So we write the function g of x is equal to 19 times a to the power of x. Replace x with 3, so, and g with this number. So 2375 equals to 19 a to the power of x, and x is equal to 3. Use the calculator to get the value of a here. 2375 is equal to 19 times a, which is x here, to the third power. And then we can just choose the shift calc equals to get the value of x as 5. A is 5 now. So a is equal to 5. And we can rewrite this equation by using a as 5. This is the first step. Second step is to get g of 4. G of 4, write the function again, 19 times a, but now a is 5, nothing else. 5 to the x, and x here is 4. So 19 times 19, parentheses 5 to the exponent of 4, gives us this number, 11,875. That's our answer. Question 13, at the time that an article was first featured on the homepage of a news website, there were 40 comments on the article. So look at this word, first 40. So when you write the function like y is equal to a times b to the power of x, a here is the initial amount or the first number, which is 40. So 40 is the number to be written in the beginning, which is something like this. We can replace y by c as given in the options. 40 is in the beginning. This is why we have 40 in all of them. That's okay. And then we look at the other information. An exponential model estimates that at the end of each hour after the article was first featured on the homepage, the number of comments on the article has increased by 190%. You know that this number should be written as increasing by 190% means 1 plus 190%. This means 1 plus 1.90. 190% is to replace the percentage sign by putting a point after 2 digits from the right, which means 1 plus 1.90. You add 1 and 1 because these are the whole numbers to get 2.90 or 2.9. So 2.9 should be written in the middle here and then x. 2.9 is the only one mentioned in letter D. You can also use the calculator to calculate this if you have a problem with adding the whole numbers and the percentages. Okay, number 14, for the exponential function f, the value of f of 1 is equal to k, where k is a constant. Which of the following equivalent forms, guys, all of these are equivalent forms of the function f, shows the value of k as a coefficient or the base. So here maybe you can graph them on Desmos. How can we answer this question using Desmos? Let's explore this question on Desmos. We can graph all of them. And the more you practice, guys, the more you practice in the exponential functions, the more you know where to decide to use Desmos or to use the manual method or to use the calculator. This is a matter of practice. So you need to train yourself too much for the level that you can reach to decide by yourself which one best suits your abilities. Let's go to the Desmos tool and write all of these functions. F x is equal to 50 times 2. Let's try it without y. No need to write y. Just write 50 to x plus 1. 50 to the power of x minus. You have to write the parentheses here. You have to. X plus 1. We got this graph here. Let's center it here and we see what we can do. Let's go to the second one. 80 2 to the x. Exponent is here, x. It's another one. Yeah, it's not the same exact one. And then 128 to x minus 1. We will write exponent like this and make the parentheses. Don't forget to write the parentheses. X minus 1. And then the fourth graph is 205 to x minus 2. 205 to x minus 2. Exponent x minus 2. Now we have four graphs. How can we differentiate between them? We have f of 1 is equal to something. F of 1, so x is 1. So now we can replace x by 1 and write it here. You can write x equals 1. X equals to 1. X equal to 1 is actually this green line here. So this green line intersects all of these graphs. Let's see which one gives us the value of k, which is a number, just a number, as a coefficient over the base. I mean, if the number is given inside the equation, it's the answer. What do I mean by this? Let's go up to reach where they intersect. Here, the line intersect the first graph at 102.5. Do you have 102.5 here? No, we don't. So move to the other line, into our intersection. We have the intersection here, 128. So that's the answer. The question that contains 128 is the answer. And I'll show you now how to answer the question manually, not on Desmos. So this is something we can use. Let's go also to the third line here. The intersection happens at this point, 160. We don't have 160s here. And then the fourth one, at the intersection right here, yeah, 200. We don't have 200. We only have 128, which is given in letters. How can we answer this question using the manual method? We just replace x by 1 every time. So 50 times 2 to the power of 1 plus 1, which is 2. This will be 200. Do you have 200 here? No. Or here? No. So that's incorrect. The result gets back to the question. That's the meaning of coefficient or base. Letter B, 80 times 2 to the power of 1. This is 160. Do you have 160 here or here? No. Letter C, 128 times 2 to the power of 1 minus 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. 1 times 128 is equal to 128. And this gets back again to the question, which makes it the correct one. 128, our answer, which is k, is the same as one of the constants or the bases. One of them is 128. Constant or coefficient or the base. That's a coefficient. And this is the base. One of them is the same answer, which means C is the correct one. Of course, if you try D, you will not get the same answer. Question 15. Two variables, x and y, are related such that for each increase of 1 in the value of x, the value of y decreases up by a factor of 4. Be careful about the increasing by a factor of 4. Factor is not the same as 4%, for example. When I say increased by 4%, it's 1.04. But increased by a factor of 4, this 4 is multiplied, which means the number inside the parentheses, between the parentheses, is only 4. Factor of 4 means just write 4, like 85%, not increasing or decreasing, as we mentioned before. So inside the parentheses, between the parentheses, we should have 4. 4 is only mentioned here. So that's the answer. And of course, the initial is 200 when x is equal to 0. which is also given here in letter D. Let's read now question number 16. F of x is equal to 0.84 to the power of x. And the function is defined by the given equation. The equation can be rewritten as this, where p is a constant. Which of the following is closest to the value of p? So look at these. We have to compare them, and the number, because this is x here, and it's also x, and this f of x and this f of x. So the number that comes between the parentheses is the same as the number between the parentheses. So you can say 1 minus p over 100 is equal to 0.84. You can use the calculator to get the value of p by replacing it with x on the calculator. 1 minus a fraction of x over 100 is equal to, we press this button right here, 0.84, and then shift calc equals to get the answer as 16. So x is equal to 16 because everything should be compared. You can also think about it. What is 1 minus what is equal to 84? 100% minus what is equal to 84%? 16%, of course, if you want to think about it mentally. Question number 17. The function f is defined by this, and a and b are constants, and the xy plane, the graph of f of y is equal to f of x minus 12 has a y-intercept of this. And the product of a and b is this. What the value of v? This question has many steps to follow. So let's look at this one. Y is equal to f of x minus 12. So y is equal to f of x, which is all of this, negative a to the x plus b minus 12. That's the function y, because it has a y-intercept of 0, and this number, this means we replace x here by 0 and y by this number. So instead of y, we write negative 75 over 7, negative a to the power of x, which is 0, plus b minus 12. Of course, a to the power of 0 is 1, but now we have a negative sign to be negative 75 over 7 is equal to negative 1 plus b minus 12. And now negative 1 minus 12 is negative 13. When you move it to the left, you get positive 13. So b is equal to positive 13 minus 75 over 7. That's the value of b. We can just simplify this number. 13 minus a fraction of 75 over 7. And we get 16 over 7. So b is 16 over 7, as you see on the calculator. This is the value of b. Because we need a, we have something else. The question says the product of a and b is this number. So a times b is equal to 320 over 7. Replace a now with, replace b with this number. So a times 16 over 7 is equal to 320 over 7. Now you can just multiply by 7 to get rid of these denominators. Multiply left and right by 7 to make it easier even on the calculator. Multiply here by 7, this cancels this. Multiply here by 7 to cancel out this one. So 16a in the left, a times 16 means 16a is equal to 320. If you want to answer it manually, divide by 16 in both sides and get a equals to 20. Or you can just use the calculator. That's b, that's a. But the question says find only the value of a. A is equal to 20, which should be written in the answer. Our last question is number 18. The function f is defined by this, where a and b are constants in the xy plane. The graph of y is equal to f of x has an x-intercept at 2 and 0, and the y-intercept at 0. And of course, we can consider these 2 points as just 2 points. No need to consider them as y-intercept or x-intercept. Just replace x with 2, f with 0 in the first step. So here is our function. A to the x plus b. X is 2 and f is 0. So 0, you can, let's say, define our page something like this. 0 instead of y or f, a to the x, which is 2 plus b. And that's our first equation. Nothing should be done here. But let's go to the second point. Replace x with 0. So and y with negative 323, negative 323, a to the 0 exponent plus b. So b plus 1, of course, this is 1, is equal to negative 323. When you move this number with the negative sign, b will be equal to negative 324. That's the value of b. And you can now replace this b with this number. So 0 is equal to a to the second power minus 324, which is the value of b. Move it to the other side, a squared is equal to positive 324. How can we get that value of a without this 2 here? But the question does not ask for a, actually. The question just asks for b. So b is the value of negative 324. If the question asks for a, you can just get the answer, get back to the equation and get the value of b. So finding the value of b maybe is okay to use this point only. Because if you replace a with 0, a will be disappearing and b will be the resulting number, negative 324. So we just take this number instead of f and 0 instead of x. So a to the power of 0 is 1, and move this 1 to the other side to get the value of b. And that's it. The question says find the value of b. But in the case if the question asks to find, for example, a relationship between a and b, like a plus b, you have to get a again and then add them together, or whatever the requirements. I hope you understand this, and the third part will be published soon. Keep tuned, and I will see you later. Thank you very much.